Hey friends and family, hope you all are having an amazing day. Thank you for happening upon this video. If you are a returning friend and subscriber, welcome back. So great to see you. And if this is your first time here on our channel, welcome to our little corner of the interwebs when we are sharing here our humbling journey of going off-grid at our property in Texas. And in the interim of while we're going on this adventure and sharing the stumblings and learnings with you is really just also sharing the different things that we're learning and becoming more sustainable, building better habits, and really just sharing with you how it is that we are sharing with you how it is that we want to be able to create the vision for our life. So hopefully it inspires you, and God willing, be able to glorify Him at the end of it as well. And so, yes, as far as today's video, I wanted to share with you all really just something that I think is important before physically going off grid. And that is the topic of being able to mentally go off grid. Now, when I say that, I mean building good habits around our daily actions now, our habits now, so that when we are actually physically off grid, we are prepared mentally, emotionally, and in our daily actions. And today I wanted to be able to share 7 different habits that you can cultivate in your life and journeying more towards more sustainable and, if you choose, more off-grid living. Also, before we can even start talking about habits and cultivating better habits for the type of life that we want, I cannot talk about habits without first talking about literally one of the most game-changing books for my husband and I that I'm sure all of you probably heard of this book too, but if you have not, I would highly encourage you all to read Atomic Habits before really starting any type of habit changes. This is just a great book for life in general, but I would definitely say is super applicable when you're wanting to start implementing more habits to journey towards being more off-grid, because it's not only habit changing, it's also process changing, it's identity changing, it's changing things that you do on a daily basis to walk towards the outcome that you are wanting for your life. And so for this book right here, I would highly encourage it. And so the first habit that has been very helpful for us to cultivate that we've been working on is number 1, embracing more quiet and solitude and getting more comfortable with being in your own company. Because I think that's something that anyone who wants to be more off-grid has to be able to cultivate the willingness to be by themselves more. And it's not to say they're not with other people, but it's just on a daily basis. They don't live in the city. And so really relishing in solitude, building good habits and hobbies for yourself, and engaging in your daily life in a way that is intentional, and whatever that is for you, I think is super key. And then number 2 would be, especially if you're wanting to have a gray water system where your household water use is able to go back into the earth on your property safely, or into your garden, whatever it may be, is being able to start now studying and switching over to more biodegradable products in your household. Because in essence, it's really important to do that, because we want the water that goes back in to our properties to not damage the land, to damage our crops, fruit trees, gardens, all of that good stuff. And it's good to start those habits now. And of course, in future videos, I will talk more in detail about that as you dive in with us on how we are journeying through all that, and hopefully it can be helpful for you. And then number 3 is start a garden and learn how to compost. I will humbly share with you that starting a garden in the desert here where we currently live is not easy. The sun is brutal. And I would just encourage, even if you suck at it, no matter how many seasons it takes, start gardening. Start gardening and learn how to compost, especially if you can learn how to compost household scraps that you are already using, and be able to go through this beautiful scientific process of turning it back into soil again to use back in your garden. Everything then becomes renewable, and it's so great because we have those resources right there for us. We just don't know how to do it. And so that would be a great habit to cultivate. But also, I would highly encourage you every single week to carve out time to really just every week to study and research different things for you to go off grid, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's solar, maybe it is, gray water, maybe it is, solar panels, whatever it may be. Just dive into it and carve out intentional time for that. Maybe it's an hour out of your week, but doing so will definitely be able to keep you in a great state of learning, which is going to be a lifetime of it when you journey towards being an off-gridder, is what I'm learning. And then the fifth thing I would suggest is engaging more mindful consumption of your resources in your current home, meaning your electricity, your air conditioner, your water, your gas, everything that you use on a daily basis. Being more mindful of the consumption that you have with them, because when you're off grid, you don't have an unlimited amount of resources to be able to use for your electricity, your water. All of that is important. And of course, it's all baby steps, but it is definitely something that, hey, like when you leave a room, turning off the light when you're not in there anymore, or hey, if your phone is not needing to be charged anymore, unplugging it. Same with habits of just unplugging things that you're not using anymore. It doesn't need to be plugged in the whole time because it can pull phantom power is really an interesting thing that we'll share in future videos. But the sixth thing I would highly suggest as well is really experimenting in making your own, whether it's breads, whether it's learning how to do canned goods, whether it's learning how to make your own yogurt. Learn how to make your own stuff as much as you can, because essentially, if you are, let's say, you have a homestead and you are growing your own, if you are gathering your own eggs from your own chicken coop, maybe you have a cow and you have milk and butter, hey, and all you need to do is buy flour from the store, it would be great. It saves a lot of money. You can learn to make your own bread. Or even your own yogurt, especially if you have your own, cow or goat or whatever it may be, to be able to make yogurt. Amazing. The things that you can learn to do, but try to experiment with it now as much as you can. And I will say I am a terrible baker. I have always been a terrible baker, unfortunately. And my sister has been so gracious from time to time to really just kind of help me with getting better at baking. I'm still not good at it. And it's okay, but I'm just going to keep trying because eventually I'm going to get better at it. And it actually took me 3 tries before I finally got a good gluten-free bread recipe down. And so experiment and then have grace with yourself. And then the seventh habit I would suggest you all cultivating, just like we are, is to be able to shop local, if not grow your own food. If you are like us and we're not very good at gardening yet, maybe you can't quite eat what you grow fully just yet, but perhaps you can shop local from people that do, meaning going to your local farmer's market or your local farm or orchard. And it is such a great thing to not only be able to do that, but your produce is as fresh as possible, but you're also supporting other local businesses as well while you're there. And so those are the things that I would suggest, those 7 habits I would suggest for you all to also cultivate if you are wanting to journey to be more off-grid in the future. And preparing your mind, preparing your heart and your habits for being off-grid before you actually physically do so. And so I know it's a short video today, but that is really one I wanted to share with you all. And of course, those different habits that I shared with you, we will be diving into them more in future videos to just look at more details of what those different habit cultivations entail. And so if that is something that interests you, or if you are wanting to see more of our house whenever we hop back over to Texas to do stuff on it, please join us here on our channel and feel free to subscribe at the button down below. And of course, if you feel that this video or this channel can be helpful for somebody else and inspiring them on their journey, please feel free to share, as we are so grateful if you do. And so thank you so much for joining us today. Sending all of our love. God bless you all, and we will talk soon.